Hi, this is Karate Kid 402STY, and this is my review of the #1 RTS strategy game, World in Conflict. World in Conflict is a game that is RTS strategy. It is based on the Cold War era, except, as we all know, the Soviet Union collapses and nothing happens. There is never a war with the United States, there's never a nuclear war, never a World War III. Well, this game actually goes into detail what they believe would have happened if the Soviet Union had decided to invade the United States and declare war on Europe and the rest of the democratic nations. First of all, the graphics. The graphics are fantastic. They're good because it really can put you in the spot. You can see long distances, even though the battlefield is contained, you can only fight in a certain area. They make it look as if you're looking at a long horizon. And the wind off the trees and the shadows of the tanks and the weaponry and the buildings and to the small conversations of the soldiers to the actual fighting is all done so realistically. There are actually times when you actually forget yourself and you actually think you're in an actual war. Of course, you snap out of it a bit and then you just go right back into reality. However, the storyline for the campaign, which is a scenario in which you play a soldier by the name of Lieutenant Parker, who's leading a squadron, or not a squadron, that's Air Force, who's leading a battalion of soldiers under the command of a general. And you go through all these missions, you try to save people from Seattle, you try to prevent the Soviets from going further, and there's even fighting in Europe in which you're flashing back and you look back at the events that happened in Europe before the invasion, and then you go back to the fighting in America. However, in the game, you can only play the Americans. The Americans are the only, and NATO. You could also play NATO when you're in the European part of the story. And that's all you can play. You cannot play the Soviets in this scenario. However, you can play the Soviets in the multiplayer scenario, which I haven't tried out yet, but it's supposedly really good too. You can play up to over 16 so players. And yes, and the storyline is very good. It's actually kind of unfolds like a movie almost. You get attached to the characters. Each character has a certain story behind him. He has family back home. You can kind of relate to them, and you can kind of put yourself in the position of, oh my gosh, what would have happened if my city had been taken over by an invading force? And yes. And so the campaign is good, the graphics are good. It's really a game that, for all you RTS players, it is a must-have. If you love strategy games, you must get this game because it is fantastic for modern war. It is modern warfare. If you're not an RTS player, but you like playing PC, you should look at the demo, because this game, it's not really, there's nothing to do with resource gathering. You don't have to gather resources. All you have to do is fight, get points, and you can call in reinforcements when you start losing your equipment and your soldiers. And so, if you're not an RTS player, because usually in most RTS games you have to collect resources and build up a civilization, you should still try to get it, because, or at least try the demo out, because you just go right into the fighting. It's just, you go right into the mission. There are certain goals you have to accomplish. There are secondary objectives you have to accomplish. Sometimes fulfilling the secondary objectives are good, but other times they're bad. And you have to do your best to keep as many soldiers as you can alive and equipment, and you can fire with the tanks. And there's all these defense strategies you can use, and these defensive strategies you can use. So in conclusion, World in Conflict is a game that is a must-have for RTS players, and it should be looked into by PC players who don't usually play RTS players, but still like to have a good time killing off the enemy. That's my message. Once again, this is Karate Kid 402STY, and this was my review of World in Conflict.